My guest today is Eylon Keshet, the cousin of Yarden Bibas, who, along with baby Kfir, his 5-year-old brother Ariel, and their mother Shiri, were kidnapped and taken as hostages to Gaza by Hamas terrorists on the 7th of October. The Bibas family lived on the Nir Oz kibbutz close to Gaza, where a quarter of the peaceful Nir Oz community were killed, kidnapped, or injured in the October 7th attacks. Very grateful to have Eylon with us here today. Eylon, thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing?
Um, Very complicated question and a very complicated answer.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, I just can't believe that the situation is what it is, and I never imagined that we will have to mention a second birthday in for our family in Gaza. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about that. I mean, very recently, at the time of this recording, um, Ariel turned 5 years old,
Yes.
and we saw people around the world mark his fifth birthday. Similarly, earlier this year, on January 18th, I believe, hundreds of people gathered at Tel Aviv's Hostage Square with orange balloons to mark the first birthday of Kfir Bibas. How do these displays of solidarity make you feel when you see them?
And so at first, of course, it's very it's very heartwarming to see so many people support us, and it makes it just a little bit easier to cope with this situation. And I think, and it's like it's a very human thing to do. It's a very basic thing to do. So many people around the world are united in this stance that this is not something we are willing um, to stand. Like, this is a very atrocious a crime against humanity and against what we hold dear. So, um, like, on the one hand, it's I don't take it for granted, but on the other, it's like, yeah, like, this is a very I would be very disappointed if this wasn't the case, if not so many people would have stand up for this. And one of the more complicated feelings about it for me and for our family as well is that they became the symbol of the kidnapping, my family, especially the boys. And for us, they are not a symbol, right? They are real family members. Um, and it's hard thing to live through, because it sometimes feels like a distance from the real people that they are. I mean, we are. They became a strong symbol that helps the fight, but we just miss them, and we just want to see them again, and we want to be sure that they are okay and that they are alive. So it's every time it brings very mixed feelings about the whole situation.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. A moment ago, you referenced coping with the situation. I have to ask, how are you and your other family members coping with this ongoing situation?
It's very surreal, and we feel it. You feel it all the time. I mean, it's the little things like last time I saw Yarden, we had this stupid conversation about tomatoes and how to preserve them, because he worked for a time at agriculture, and every time I cut a salad or buy a tomato, I think about him. It's like it's all the time. It's there. It's in your mind, and it's very very hard. You learn to like try to very artificially control your feelings, and just get through the day, because if you keep thinking about it, you can't operate. It's too much for the mind to handle. It's so nightmarish. It's so unreal that it's very, very hard, and just every day is an up and down. And I feel like I'm the burst of crying like any minute, all the time, um, and it feels like torture, like, because we don't have any information about them, and we don't know their situation, and things just go on, and the negotiation is so fragile, and unfortunately there are so many bad actors around this negotiation and around this whole thing, and it's really hard to stay hopeful. And if you, like, I became very pessimistic about any news I hear, because if I let myself be hopeful for a minute, I'm just disappointed again and again and again, and it's not something that I can live with, like this emotional roller coaster. So I kind of chose to stay down all the time, just so it's not so volatile, and it's really, really hard. We are just fighting because we have to fight, because we don't have anything else to do, and we're just praying that they're okay, and we just want this nightmare to end. And it, it's bizarre.
It's I mean, what you're saying is breaking my heart right now. It's such a horrible, horrible situation. You've described it so viscerally just now, and I still can't even begin to imagine what you're feeling, because I bet that doesn't even begin to actually touch it. And I'm just so sorry. And I know everyone is is really, really hoping for the best. I want to ask, where were you when you first heard the news that your family members had been one of the kidnapped?
Yeah, this always brings tears. um, so I actually didn't hear about it on Saturday, on October 7th. The family heard about it, like, was updated about it in the middle of the night, or a very late night. And I just the missiles and the attack started in the morning. I mean, at 6 a.m., something like that, we heard the sirens and all the explosions, and it was really, really, really scary. And we checked the news, and we saw the number of the dead just go up and up and up and up and up all the time. And it felt like an apocalypse or something. You can't realize, like, is this real life? Is this really happening? And the house is just shaking by every shockwave from every interception and every missile that actually did make a contact. um, and we just thought about survival, actually, like me and my partner just try to make it through the day, just like thinking about very basic, just, okay, we need to move to your parents, because this house is not protected enough, and let's get the things ready, and just staying like this all the time when the sirens are there. And um, it was, so we weren't really available in the WhatsApp groups, so we didn't hear about it. And the next morning, um, my mother called me, and she asked she was like half crying, and she asked, "How are you?" And I said, I'm okay. Nothing happened like to us." And she realized that I don't know yet about Yarden and the family. So, because of the way I answered, so she burst out crying, and she just she just told me. I mean, she said, "Eylon, the Hamas, they took Yarden, they took Shiri and Ariel and Kfir," and I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And she told me that, like, they took him, they took them, they kidnapped them along with all the others. And I just immediately shuddered. It's so, you can't think that something like this could happen. It's something out of a horror movie. Like, I I I don't know. I just cried myself to death. I couldn't handle it. I could What could you do about this? How could this happen? Just at my home, just what else can you do when you hear something like this? Like, um, so it was very, very hard. And after it just you just begin to try to rationalize it, like, make it very, okay, so what do we do? What's the information? How What needs to be done? What's the latest news? What's the situation? Just like this, you must make it practical to actually maybe make a change and to handle it. And I just thought, that it's gonna be a matter of days, of weeks, because so many people kidnapped. For sure, it's something that is very, like, okay, a deal should happen, or the negotiation should happen, or something, and they should be back, I guess, a few weeks because of logistics and stuff like this. We never thought that it will be something so long. Like, if it was just one person, it's more complicated at some level, right? But it's so many people, so like 200. So just you it must be something that should be resolved right now. And so yeah, it's like the trauma, it keeps on happening every day. It never something that should have been very local in time,
Yeah.
just keeps happening and stretching over time. And I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah, I can hear when you're speaking how raw it still is. I can hear how fresh it still is. As you say, every day it's just it never really goes away. Um, I think a lot of people look at posters or photos of Ariel or Kafir or Yarden or Shiri, and they wonder what they're like, or they try and humanize them as someone who is their family. Can you tell us, what are they like as people?
Yeah. First of all, they are very present people, and it's very apparent that they are not here, because they have very distinct personalities. um, Jordan is a very funny guy. He's a very loving father. You can kind of see it. You can even see it in his eyes, like in the poster picture and other pictures of him. Just one of those people that have good eyes. Um, so we would mainly meet in family dinners on holidays and other gatherings. And he he's a very optimistic man, and he's very, like, when he talks, he talks with his smile. He's like he's very he's a very he has this positive energy about him.
Yeah.
And he I he he and I would nerd out about very technical things that we find interesting. He's a welder, so like with the metals and everything.
Yeah.
So we would watch videos together, and he was very passionate about it, like not just as an occupation, but as art. And he would all the time like show me the things that he aspires to make, like other very high level artists. And we will just like pass the time like this. And the also like every time like jokes throughout the way he speaks. And it's very apparent that he's not here, because you can't miss that he's there. And he would talk sometimes about um, how he would like to feel more secure in Nir Oz. He had a gun for personal defense, and he would often talk about like we need more weapons, we need to be better prepared. And he talked about his him feeling not safe enough. And actually not many people know that, but they were actually they began checking the option to move out of Nir Oz because Yarden didn't feel safe enough, and unfortunately they didn't make it in time. um, he was it, it's like he was the one that could see clearly that maybe things are not well.
Right.
um, so this is this sucks. And Ariel, I think, took a lot of his character. Is very like out there. Like he's one that is very he's very likable, and he's very loving, very attention seeking, like in the good way that children are. And he really likes trucks, and toy trucks, toy
Sure.
cars and stuff like this. Is very he also seems like technical person, like his dad. And last time when we met, he just played with a huge toy truck, and we and me and Yarden played with him. And he's like you know like a little demon. uh, and very energetic, very trusting. Like he's very quick to communicate. um, and you could see like Shiri and Yarden have this spark of pride when they looked at him. Like he just he's also like a little ball of positive energy. And real what can I say, an amazing child, amazing person. um, so yeah. And Kfir was actually last time I saw him, he was so little. He was kidnapped when he was only less than 9 months old. And I saw him like about 2 months before, I think. I can't really remember. And he was so small. He's really just a little baby. But he also has this quality of this calmness, and this quick to trust. Even though he didn't knew me at the time, I held him, and he immediately like was very smiling, and I could make him laugh. He's he's okay with it being passed around, and you can see that he's his brother.
Yeah.
um, he's a very very sweet child. Um, yeah, and Shiri was the boss, you know. She was the boss. Like if we want to talk to make plans with Yarden, you talk to Shiri. Like
Right.
she was the boss, and she and Yarden was like they're so they fit together so well because they both have this sense of humor. So she's also like they like to tease each other, and you know, just a constant smile on her face. When Yarden and her began to to date, and so it just felt like she was always part of the family. She was so quick to connect with us, and she's very like out. She's very confident person, and she's this sort of person that you can feel like you could be yourself around, like very natural person, a very real person, not uh, that this is something that I think is a rare quality that and actually she worked in education, and as part of her studies she had a project that was actually about the relationship between kids in Israel and kids in Gaza.
Right. Wow.
It was called A Friend Beyond the Fence, and it was about making kids uh, from both sides of the border to meet and play together. And she was actually a very peace loving and person, and she really believed in coexistence. And really, she's the last person that should be targeted by by people from Hamas. Like if they really want to coexist, don't attack the one person that is actually devoted some part of her life to live together with you and to get to live together with the children. And it really breaks your heart to just and everyone saw the video. Everyone on earth, I think, just saw the video of her holding both children. I never saw her like this, like the face of horror and fear. It took me time to recognize her. Really, she looks so different. She's again such she's such a positive person. To bring her to look like this, it must have been hell. um so it's terrifying. I mean, I always feel like I'm afraid to look at this video and these pictures because it's it's just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I know. They sound like incredible people, and I think everyone listening to this will agree with me when I say we're all really hoping and praying that they, you know, come back immediately. Switching gears here for a second, I want to talk about how October 7th has been viewed around the world. Now, while the vast majority of good and decent and tolerant people unequivocally condemn this horrific act of terrorism, there are, unfortunately, as I'm sure you know, a section of people who actually view this as some sort of resistance. And I want to go back to something that you said in November 2023. You told reporters, you said, there is no precedent for something like this. For a baby who was kidnapped when he was 9 months old, is baby Kfir the enemy of Hamas? What would you tell people, Eylon, outside of Israel, in Europe or America, for instance, who view October 7th as some act of resistance?
The first thing I will tell them is to look very hard in the mirror and ask yourself, are you really this kind of person that believes that that every idea justifies any mean. Like, would you just go and kill babies for something you believe in? If you are not that kind of person, you're probably you're probably very twisted in your mind, right? Because children are not part of any political conflict, and babies, especially, of course, are not part of any conflict. There is no strategic goal that justifies targeting babies, kidnapping babies. And there are very basic moral lines that we as humans, we all have, right? You don't go and hurt babies. You don't go and target babies. So how could you rip posters of kidnapped, of Kfir and Ariel, and trying to politicize it? Like, what kind of monster you have to be, or what kind of ignorant you have to be to try to merge these issues together and justify it, and look as it as like as it's okay. Hamas is a terrorist organization that has done horrific stuff. Okay, not many people know, but they just slaughter like every dog they saw. There is no merit in it. There is only sadism and destruction in mind when you are doing like the dogs didn't prevent them from doing anything. They killed Yarden's dog that was their dog that we loved as well for many years. They just I think they just blew him up. When you're going to their home, which is a very hard thing to do, it's still as it was as it attacked. All the floor is covered with the blood of this dog. Is this a part of resistance? Is this something that you do like as part of a military operation? This is something you do only if you are twisted as hell and you just want to murder for the sake of murder. And they killed so many people with very brutal ways, with axes. They decapitated heads. They killed elderly people. This is not an act of resistance. This is an act of hatred and monstrosity and barbarism. So whatever your political views are, they don't justify everything. You have to be able to put this line as something that you never cross. Ever you don't kidnap children. I mean, it makes me so mad that I have to talk about it again and again, because this is like, how this is obvious. Of course you don't kidnap children. Of course you don't kill children. You don't target them. You don't kill dogs just for the sake of it. Like, it's so obvious. What kind of monster you have to be, how twisted you have to be to justify it in any way. You have to be. And this makes me afraid. This makes me afraid because it means that people are mind washed and beyond any comprehension, and it just shows the hypocrisy. I don't know how to say it. Sorry, how hypocrite they are. That they are very willfully putting aside these very basic morals to justify what they mean. It means that so many people they talk the talk in Western countries, that they are trying to convey themselves as modern people that care about modern values, are not. They are not modern people. They don't have modern values. They don't have basic moral integrity. If you go and you rip a poster of a kidnapped baby, you are a monster. You are a monster and you are twisted, and you need to look very good in the mirror and to ask yourself, are you a terrorist as well? Because promoting kidnapping babies is a terrorist act. So I don't know. I can't believe that this is the reality. It makes me so disappointed with the Western world. It makes me so pessimistic about the Western world. Politics will always come and go and change. But if this is what drives all human morals, then we are doomed. And if you just, if more people would just be able to say, yes, I don't want babies to be kidnapped, probably our future would be a little bit better, right? But apparently, this is not something that's so obvious anymore. Um, I think that the main thing that's missing, and the main thing that can give me hope, is see more different people try to just talk with each other on a very basic level, right? Like what we're doing, like spreading more. Just let people talk as people, say what they think as individuals, because I don't hate anyone, right? Many people ask me about vengeance, about Hamas. I don't care for vengeance for anyone. I just want my family to be safe and for us to live in peace. Okay? Like, stop with this mentality of hatred and vengeance and otherness. Let's just try to live in a very basic level. Really, let children live. Don't kidnap children, don't target children, don't attack innocent people, and try to talk instead of shout, and know how to keep politics out of basic moral crimes. And this is the path, I think, to a future we can live in. But it's very discouraging to, like, every day is very, very discouraging. I'm not comfortable anymore to travel abroad. I fear for myself. I I fear for what I'll see. I fear for being even more disappointed by seeing so many people just calling for actually hurting Jews. It's it's unreal. Um, I'm so I really thought that we learned better from the history, but apparently not.
Eylon, I really, really want to thank you for giving us your time. Now, before we wrap up, I want to ask you a question that I ask all of our guests, which is, if someone who is not Jewish comes to you and says that they want to help in the fight against anti-Semitism, where should they start?
And I think the main thing that we need support is talking to people who aren't Jewish, because when we are talking between ourselves, we can agree on many things, and it's important, and we should do that. But so many people don't have the information. Like, foreign media is providing a very narrow story, and is not right about facts, and is very biased. Just help spread the word, talk with people who aren't Jewish about the complexity of the situation, about the distinction between basic moral crimes and politics, and to help us connect with more people face to face, and stay away from social media. Just, we need more personal meetings. We need to look each other in the eye. So really, come talk to us, to members of the family that were kidnapped. Come talk to people in Israel. Come to Israel even. See, try to understand reality a little better. this is the most basic thing we can do. Let's try to communicate as people face to face and understand each other, and this is the best place to start.
Eylon Keshet, I really want to thank you for coming on. You know, we're all thinking of you. We're all thinking of the Bibas family and indeed all the rest of the hostages. Eylon, thank you so much for coming on Podcast Against Antisemitism.
Thank you for having me.